We're
All right.
alive.
Welcome to the real episode 8.
We were wrong last time.
Well, objective reality, who's to say?
There is no objective
Yeah.
reality. I'm positive of that.
We didn't have an episode 7 before.
What if we just
Welcome to
it was like a
episode
13th floor in hotels and
What
we
if it was
just,
just
we
always
just
episode 8?
randomly skipped episodes?
I love it.
This is episode 427. Welcome everybody. Yeah, so I'm awake because I woke up at 7 a.m. So that's good.
Nice. You're a morning person now.
Yes, jet lag.
Jet lag got you.
Yeah, it hasn't solved yet.
What
so.
have you done for the last 5 hours?
This is the bummer. I told you I can't go on YouTube anymore. Essentially, I can't go on Instagram, and I'm just becoming more and more aware of my brain is like trying to solve problems if it can't distract itself. So I've been thinking about business for a week, and it's not good.
Nice.
We're doing better than we ever have, and I would say I'm more concerned than I've ever been because it's just
Because that's just where your brain went, first let's do Instagram, and then you were like, no, we'll never do that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll watch a bunch of YouTube videos. No, we're
Yeah.
banned from YouTube. And so now
Yeah.
you're like, all right, we'll just try to grow the business.
And if you take that away, eventually I'll just probably break down in a puddle of tears and cry. Yeah, I'm trying to learn. It's good. It's exposed how difficult it is for me to be and to accept that nothing is going wrong. Nothing needs to be changed or fixed or optimized or improved upon. And right now, I just think about the business all the time.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'll get there. I'll scale it down.
You're
and
a fixer.
Yes. But I am also meditating a bit more. I've been doing more of my breath work and that kind of stuff. So
Nice.
do that in the morning.
Going well?
Yeah. I thought about our business a lot. We can talk more about our different roles and responsibilities, but I've got a whole org chart
Okay.
planned out
Excellent.
in my head for the
Excellent.
future.
I picture you just downstairs going full beautiful mind.
Yeah,
just
on
like
board.
you have no like electronic equipment near you and you're just blacked out writing on a whiteboard
that's
freaking
how it
out.
feels. That's how it feels. And Grace is embedded next to me just telling me to shut the computer or like angle it away from her head.
So the light doesn't wake her up.
So the light doesn't wake her.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's what I've been up to. And then I took the dog out and now we're here.
Nice.
So here we are. How was Spider-Man? I didn't get to ask you.
Oh my God.
Did you like
so
it?
good.
You liked it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
What did you love?
I thought it was great. It was funny, and then it started to get, for like a brief moment, a little bit too trying to make you laugh, but then it righted itself and got right back on course, I thought. So I thought he was great. I thought the awkward romance was great.
I thought they did such a good job
Yeah.
of... I was thinking, this isn't high school. Obviously, it's not an exact copy of high school, but it does such a good job of evoking the feeling of high school.
Well, they're 16.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be nerdy, right?
Yeah.
So they're a little bit maybe behind in the sexual experience curve.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was... actually, what's funny is...
I want to take her to the tower, and I want to give her a kiss.
You
and I
know,
was like, "Aw." I'm
you
like-
know Tom Holland, you know Spider-Man is gonna live.
Yeah.
Also, I guess spoilers warning for anyone who hasn't seen the movie.
Yeah,
but,
sorry. let's just cut in with a beep spoiler before we get to any of this.
You know that Spider-Man's gonna live, right?
Yeah.
But what you don't know is if he's gonna get the girl. So I actually found that when he was fighting, you're not stressed. You're not
Yeah.
like, oh, this lava monster is gonna kill him. But where I actually felt myself getting stressed or worried was like with the MJ, Brad, what's gonna happen? Oh, come on, get the girl! I was really rooting for him.
My favorite in the whole movie was Ned. Ned from the airplane on was just
Yeah.
like, oh, it's
He's-
cliche and
he's-
easy, but I love it. I
He's
love
that
it.
friend that we've all lost
Yeah.
to a relationship very quickly, who just goes all in
Who
on.
starts telling you, like, this is how it is.
This is love.
This is love, and
Yeah.
one day you'll understand.
No, they did a great job.
I thought that the action set pieces were lacking. I really liked the movie a lot, but I couldn't have cared about the lava monster. The final scene was the first time that there was action in the movie that was engaging. I thought
Him against Mysterio.
him against the little bots, but yeah,
Oh, that was good.
Mysterio is
And he
also.
gets his Peter tingle.
Yeah, Peter
Come on,
tingle.
that's an iconic moment.
So I was thinking about this. It reminded me of Spider-Man 2, because the whole plot of Spider-Man 2 is I don't want to be Spider-Man and I lose my spider powers and I have to accept that I'm Spider-Man and then I get my powers back, which
Okay.
this I felt like touched on but didn't make clear. Like, why didn't he have the Peter tingle at the beginning of the movie? And why did he then just decide later, Peter tingle time?
Don't worry about that.
Don't worry, these
Don't-
are needless nitpicks.
I got a different question for you.
Yeah.
Mysterio really wants to be the next Iron Man.
Yeah.
So the way he does it, he uses incredible technology to create disasters
Yeah.
and then fake fight them. Meanwhile, he has incredible holographic technology
Yeah.
and robots that can cause enough damage to destroy villages.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just be a good guy?
Well,
All he had to do was just wait for bad things to actually happen and then use his insane superpowers
To fight.
to be Iron Man.
To be a good guy.
You
yeah.
you didn't have to do this.
So his firepower is lacking, but his ability to confuse you is off the charts.
He destroyed an entire
Yeah.
village, right? That was the one thing I was watching, and just
He just shot a bunch of holes in the wall, essentially. Right?
it was just a funny way to go about it. I want to
Yeah.
be a superhero,
Yeah.
so I'm going to fake bad things and then fake save them. It's like, bro, you have insane magic technology powers. Just wait for bad things to happen. Actually be a good guy.
Yeah. How did you feel about him as a villain?
I thought it was good. I mean, kind of knew that he was going to turn.
Because you're a fan. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the comics enough to know who Mysterio is, but I do know them well enough to know he is a bad guy.
Yeah.
So, how about that ending credit scene?
I thought I'm so happy that Marvel, I guess they've been doing this sometimes, but is taking such bold steps with their movies where they leave it to the next director to be, you got to figure this out.
I'm hyped.
Everyone's been gone for 5 years.
I'm
Figure
hyped.
it out.
So super spoiler.
Everyone knows who Peter is.
Super spoiler.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Peter Parker was framed, or Spider-Man was framed as a villain and outed as Peter Parker. I actually have no idea where you go from here. So I'm immediately hyped
when they
for
make
the
the
movie.
consequences of one movie connect to the next. That's why I was kind of disappointed, even in a small way, with Thor just pops a new eye back in.
Yeah, I agree.
It diminished that loss. Just make him wear an eye patch. It's okay. He's still handsome. He's Chris Hemsworth. I like when there's consequences. It makes it feel so much more impactful.
You're a sick man.
When it returns to the beginning every time and it's just James Bond over and over with a replaceable damsel, it's boring. But when it carries forward, that's when it gets momentum, and I like it.
You get hard at the red wedding. I get it. You're a sick man.
That's my fetish.
That's your thing.
Main characters.
The death of the people you love is...
I still think, that was the highlight of my fiction career.
Life.
Of certainly a large portion of it was the red wedding. I hated it, but that was what I wanted.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that carries forward. I hope they don't just reverse it by the end of the next Spider-Man by finding a way to, we flashy thinged the entire nation, we framed Mysterio so they know that Spider-Man. I hope that he has to really deal with the fallout of that. That would be sick. But yeah, I like the movie a lot.
Oh, that was good.
I was worried that you would not.
Oh, no, I loved it. I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Dude, do you realize that in 1 hour, our best friends from high school touched down in Los Angeles?
Is that true?
Yeah.
Nobody tells me these
Very
things.
exciting stuff. Dude, I was thinking about this today. I wanted to talk to you about this. So the reason this is happening is because my friends from college have shown me the importance of traditions with friends.
Yeah.
They do this thing called Steak of the Month, where every month, 20 of them get together for a meal. And all the girlfriends and everyone else knows, like, this is happening. And they also once a year go on a golf trip where they all fly to Arizona. And I think that's amazing because they're starting to get married, they're starting to have kids. But even with marriage and kids and this stuff, they will always have this once a month friend thing and this once a year trip. And I'm stoked on it. So this is the first annual Bucks County Boys surf trip. We're calling it the Fabsta.
The Fabsta?
Yep. I'm really hyped. I admired what my buddies in New York did, so that's what this is. So every year in the summer, because one of our buddies is a teacher, we're going to go somewhere for a week, and we're going to surf.
To surf.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very exciting.
And I'm going to see you guys when you touch down and not go surfing.
I'm just saying, dude, you got to make the first annual, whatever it is, video game boys trip.
Maybe.
Whatever it is that you like to do.
We're different. I don't like scheduling things, ever. I'm stoked that they're here. I'm glad that I had nothing to do with the planning.
Yeah, but I think what I see is all these people in the future who get so caught up with the stresses of getting older, saving for retirement, having kids, which is rewarding in its own way. They lose touch with all their friends.
Yeah.
So I really like that these dudes in New York, they've been in finance for 10 years, grinding it out, Wall Street. There are very few harder jobs, but they find time once a month to get together, all 20 of them. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that when you're 40 and 50, that really pays dividends.
This is the difference between you and me.
You don't think about being 40.
I've never thought about being 40 or 50.
Existed. Yeah.
What am I going to do today? And please don't put anything on my calendar.
Fair enough.
Are my two
Fair
metrics. Where will I be when I'm 50?
No, mine was like, Paul's going to have kids.
Yeah.
He's the guy that got me into surfing. I want to be able to see him. I know he's going to be busy. We'll establish this tradition.
I think it's great.
And his wife signed off on it.
I'll tag along. I'll sometimes be there and sometimes not. And you guys can be like, where's Charlie? I don't know. He's doing some flavor of the month crazy thing that he's into now.
He doesn't care about the Fabsta.
He doesn't want to be part of the Fabsta. No, I'm stoked. It'll be great. We could have had them on the podcast. I know it's the truth is, I think we'd have a fascinating conversation with these guys off camera, But when you turn the cameras on, I do think it's difficult to feel
I would love to have
comfortable.
them. I wonder if to have them. I would love to have them. I wonder how much other people want to be.
When Paul and I
public.
launch into conversations, I think they're fascinating.
I agree.
We tend to talk about interesting ideas from books that we've been reading.
He's why you quit your job and started Charisma on Command.
Paul was instrumental for a lot of the big things. He, when I was in Brazil, was searching around trying to find the next thing for me, and I was going to go back to maybe being a consultant, working on our parkour business. He said, why don't you do something involving people? You spend all freaking day thinking about people, and if you're going to go to talk to this person, say hi to this person, connect with this.
Because starting a business about what you care about is scary.
Yeah, and prior
it's
to
easier
that,
to sell parkour DVDs.
Prior to that, he convinced me to quit my job. He was instrumental for all these things. So he'd be like he was gonna be the third, right?
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow we'll get him on surprise podcast episode. Probably not though.
No, probably not. We're probably just gonna kick it.
Also, just so you know, I haven't eaten in 20 hours, so if halfway through the podcast I pass out, it's because
Angel is here.
Angel, you take over. Drag my dead body out.
Did you check it? Do you know CPR?
I don't, so you're on your own. Sorry.
Okay, cool.
Perfect. Just make sure the podcast carries on.
Yes.
More than anything.
We need to hit 60 minutes. Speaking of, we need a sponsor. And I was thinking we could be the sponsor.
I'm in.
So, guys, this episode is brought to you by Ben and me. This podcast is a big financial L for us.
That's true.
It's fun, though, and we will continue it.
Someone commented, actually, they were like, I'm so happy you guys do this, even though I know it's not a lot of money. It's like, well, there's actually no money involved.
$0, and Ben's apartment is full of lights.
I'm glad that you like it.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing it.
No, but I'm going to say right now, I'm going to pitch. We have Charisma University. So the reason that we can subsidize this is because we have a course, Charisma University. If you're not familiar, absolutely check it out. It's about how to be more charismatic, outgoing, to know what to say when you don't know what you're going to say, like right now, because I haven't planned this at all. But it's great. It's the coolest thing I've ever made.
I just have cue cards.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's a 30-day course. If you want to check it out, it comes with a 60-day guarantee. So thank you, Charisma University, for sponsoring this podcast.
Also,
link in the description.
Another announcement. I think we are officially live on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, and Stitcher. And if we're not, it's because someone on our team lied to me. But I was told that.
It's happened before. This morning I was talking about, this is the Tom Holland thing. So you know the Rihanna umbrella? I shouldn't even say, sorry, because they might copyright claim this whole freaking video. So the video that we did on Tom Holland's got 1.1 million views, which is a good chunk of change in ad rev. And we have 8.5 seconds of Rihanna's umbrella playing when Tom Holland walks out at minute 2:30. And thanks to that, we don't get the ad rev. It says we're sharing it. Does not look like we're sharing it 50-50.
Oh, really?
No.
Man.
It's crazy.
So in a 12-minute video, there's a song for 8.5 seconds.
Yes.
And that means that you completely get demonetized, basically.
That means that this is theirs. It belongs to them now. Which
the video is
essentially
their
why
property.
why wouldn't it belong to them? They decided that it could stay up. Thank you guys for your benevolence. It's wild, and it's not anyone's fault, except that this is just entrenched power that, of course, they want to claim that. And the unfortunate thing is that as soon as we saw that it got claimed, I went in and I changed those 8 seconds. YouTube has this editor to whatever royalty-free.
It's just a drum solo, right?
It
was great.
I was like, this is fine, whatever. It makes my point because it's not about this song. And I hit update and it didn't update. It's maybe going to take, maybe not. If it does, we still have to dispute it. So yeah, man, just a bummer because it's funny. The idea is to protect people's intellectual property.
And instead, our intellectual property got stolen.
Listen, if you're Jimmy Fallon, if you're the other guys and you're like, you used a lot of our clips, there's an argument to be had. Umbrella has nothing to do with this video, flat out. If anybody shouldn't be getting it, it's the people who own that song. So I still love you, Rihanna. I know it's not your fault. But
nah. It's whatever
whoever owns you, man, not cool stuff. But these are the first world problems of YouTubers. We don't need to dwell on it too much.
True.
Still lucky that 1.1 million people got to take a look at it, which was pretty cool.
We still appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we've had our best months in terms of views and income because of it. We're selling the course on it, but like getting those. Yeah,
it's weird. Why do you think it went crazy?
This one or the previous ones?
I believe the last 2 months. Its views are up 50% or doubled or something crazy.
Well, there's been breakout. Brie Larson was a breakout. Keanu Reeves, it was obvious. If you touched Keanu Reeves on YouTube, you brought us our savior.
You just got to have his blessing bestowed upon you.
There's these cultural things that happen. And I also think we've really honed in on what people are looking for in our channel. So for a while, I was making the videos that this is the bummer between art and business that I
Yes.
was most interested in because I wanted to talk about this. And I've begun to understand what the audience
You're
wants.
making what people want.
Yeah, they want to talk about how to overcome awkwardness and turn it into confidence. That's a core thing that people encounter. And so we've been thinking about what people need and want from us and seeing how we can pair that with particular massive celebrities.
Ironically, it's like as you started to burn out from making videos, the artistic
Integrity.
controlling, like the artistic,
Yeah.
I can't let this go, kind of let go, because you're like, I'm just tired of making these. So then we're like, all right, well, Charlie's not going to enjoy making these regardless. Let's just make what people like.
Sell out.
So weirdly enough, now you're just making what people like.
Yeah.
And it's going well.
No, I used to have these videos where I'd send them to you. I'd be like, this is my masterpiece.
My magnum opus.
This is my magnum opus. And you're like, I don't care about this. No one cares about this. Yes, but it took me all week of overtime. And here it is. And it would get no views. And then I'd be, this is a massive movie star and we should do one on them. And it would blow up.
What was the ultimate one? What was
the ultimate magnum opus? I don't know. Gosh, what were they? I spent a lot of time on Draw My Life.
Vlog Brothers, I remember you were
Vlog
very
Brothers.
sad.
I was so jacked up for the Vlog Brothers.
Like,
no one's watched that video.
no.
I've learned a ton from it as well. There are some that have overlapped where the video turns out to be incredibly useful and get a lot of views. And
sure. PewDiePie or Trump.
Oprah, PewDiePie, the people that I didn't understand prior to analyzing them have been the most fun. So we'll see if there's any more of those that come out in the next bit. I told you we might do one on the election. Mm-hmm. I've been thinking a lot.
I think that, so again, I would like to watch that video. I don't know if
I'd
other
have to
people
learn
will.
it.
It's going to be how to
win an election,
a presidential election.
Yeah, and obviously I don't know which policies, the grassroots campaign. I'm more concerned with how one portrays oneself in the debates, when talking, the sound bites and all that kind. But I think I've seen interesting
Not about any
things.
particular person.
Well, it was supposed to be based on Andrew Yang, and because a lot of people want me to do Andrew Yang, and then he didn't show up basically for the debate.
Yes, there's not a lot to talk about.
So there's not a lot to talk about, and I was looking at the things that he has done well, but also the things that he is failing to do, because I see that there are stages. And I would say the first stage when there's 30 people in your party is you need to be different. You need to distinguish yourself somehow. And he's done an all right job of that. He's got no tie. He's got the freedom dividend. He wants to give you a ton of money. He's coming up on the internet. The second stage has to do with, well, I don't want to spoil too much. I'm still kind of consolidating it in my head, but you need to transition. And then that's how you win your primary. And then you go into the general election. And then that's a completely different stage. And I think he did obviously very well on that first, okay, here I am, and quite frankly tracked Trump in terms of his performance through that, but certainly come the first debate, didn't show up in a big way, and I think he's not hit what I would describe as that second stage of brandability, of identity, this is my guy, and I don't think he's going to.
Well, the good news is he's got a ton of time.
I don't think he's going to. I don't see it in him, honestly. People aren't going to like hearing that.
What if you make the video and it finds its way to him?
This is the video, man. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen for the way that he is right now. Yeah, I say that with no joy, no anything. I think that there's schoolyard politics occurring on these debate stages, and I think that who wins these has so much to do with who would win in a schoolyard argument in front of
a bunch of people
kids.
are like, oh
yeah. And I don't see that in him. And I saw it in Trump. Kamala Harris got the one zinger and surged ahead in polls. And
is that really?
Yeah, she got the one Joe Biden moment that people are talking about. And she's, now doing much better. I don't know that she's the front runner yet, but
no, that's interesting. I didn't realize that.
This was the stage that Donald Trump started dismantling Jeb Bush. Jeb had $100 million spent already at this point in the election.
Yeah, also weirdly enough,
a sibling and a dad who were president and didn't make it past the beginning of the primaries. It's incredible. And a career in politics. That was so amazing what was done to him. And then,
so how did Barack do it, though? Because Barack wasn't schoolyard bullying.
So that's, in order to make this video, I have to go back and I have to watch. And I watched some of the debates with Romney, which were obviously after he won the first election. I believe that's his second run through. And you look at him and he wins.
No, my question is, how did Barack Obama win his first primary.
That's the one I have to
get
take
his first nomination.
I want to look at that, and I haven't checked it out yet. So
I'd be super curious about,
Yeah.
because he's almost the opposite of a bully. His whole thing is to inspire, right?
Sure.
Hope and change.
I still think that the framework, I suspect, my hypothesis is that when you look at it, it's not going to be, obviously, seems so redundant to say, my policies are better than yours.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I come across more powerfully than you do. And so I'll have to watch some of those first.
That's where I think it would be really interesting.
So it would be a long video to make. I'd be watching Barack's things. I'd be watching Trump's things. And like at least...
Probably go back to Bush probably too, right?
Maybe even back to Bush, who I don't know if he was a front runner when he started. I'll have to check. I don't know enough about it. But yeah, it would take a long time and it would be a magnum opus and nobody would watch. So we maybe shouldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing to me is who wins the primaries, right? Because then you get a Democrat and a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
And so far recently, it's always been close. It's like hanging chads, or Hillary wins the populace, but he wins the electoral.
Yeah.
There's not so much crazy stuff going on, but it's like there's 20 Democratic
Anything could
candidates
happen
right now.
Yeah.
When Trump was going, there was 12 main Republican
17
ones
or something. Yeah.
I'm sure when Barack Obama did it, when George, like that's to me the most interesting moment is how do these people that are not guaranteed to win, Barack, Trump, come through this 12, 20 person thing in the primary.
Especially because Barack was not the front runner. Hillary Clinton was there, right? It's Joe Biden, by all rights, should have this. He's a career politician. He's the center of the stage. He should have this. And if he doesn't, it'll be at least the third time in a row that somebody who wasn't the first seed didn't take it, which means that it's up for grabs in a way that people don't realize.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is that she was able to win her primary and then obviously went on to win her district. But enough politics for now.
Agreed. Current events?
Well, what else? I've been reading. I tell you my books. I'm reading a book on consciousness.
Okay. Universal consciousness?
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's about the idea of what consciousness could be. So I don't know if you're interested. You could tell me to shut up if you don't care.
I'm reading about dog training, so
the idea. So it starts with the general idea that scientific intuition and scientific fact are often at odds, and I use fact lightly, but when you look out at the sky, it's very obvious that the sun revolves around the Earth. When, of course, we've learned that upon further inspection, that's not the case. When you touch this couch, allegedly, when you touch the couch, it's very obvious that it's completely solid. But upon further inspection, it turns out to be mostly empty space, and it's just the magnetic force that keeps my hand from moving through it. So the idea of consciousness is that we know who's conscious roughly, and there's some gray space around dogs, monkeys, pigs, all that kind of stuff. But it quickly opens up to the idea that you do not know based on a thing's behavior if it is conscious. And it goes in, I told you about locked-in syndrome, where there was an example of this guy who is now my worst nightmare, who was a guy in France who had a stroke and came out of a coma 3 weeks later completely unable to move his body, and no one knew. The only thing he could move was his left eye. And he eventually caught people's attention with, I guess, a series of blinks.
Just a bunch. I picture like him being still, but then just the left eye just going crazy.
Yeah.
Just praying that someone notices.
Yeah. And then he was able to communicate because they held signs up to him with letters, be like, okay, once for A, twice for B. And then they reorganized it, at least to get the most common letters first to save him blinking time. But eventually he literally wrote a book about his experience through winking with one eye. 200,000 plus winks is astonishing, but also scary. And so the idea is you can't tell if you could imagine that same guy could have lost complete control of that eye and been totally conscious with no outward signs of it. Similarly, you can imagine a robot that operates, and when you punch it, it goes, ow, please don't, sir, and you go,
which is pre-programmed.
Which is pre-programmed, and you would argue unconscious or not conscious. So behavior and consciousness do not pair up, is the first thing that they think they establish very well. Which leads to the question, could things that we presume to be obviously not conscious actually have some experiential quality to their existence?
This is just the plot of Toy Story.
Yes. When we leave the room, this is my point, the couches talk to one another.
They could be talking to each other right now.
They could be right now. It's like whales.
Yeah.
And as the book gets into it, there are people who have had psychedelic experiences, and even scientists going as far back as I think Maxwell, who have hypothesized that consciousness, it's not material atoms that are the fundamental thing that creates our experience. It's literally consciousness would be the base. Everything is conscious in this theory, which we would have to find some way to test, and is essentially, everything has experience. Lord knows what happens after you die, etc. It doesn't even require religion, but some form of consciousness could be preserved. Really interesting stuff.
Yeah, why is this so interesting to you?
Why is consciousness so interesting to me?
Yeah.
Oh man, I think it's the only thing there is. It's the only thing we're certain of is the fact that I am experiencing something. I can't say for certain what's going on with this or with you or anything, but I am experiencing something. Of that I am 100% positive. I think some of the psychedelic experiences that I've had have raised questions around what it is like to be conscious without having a self.
Sure. I was just curious, like, what's the takeaway? Everything's conscious. Therefore.
Everything could be conscious. It would affect my sense of morality, I think. It would affect the way that I related to the world, certainly. Because if, there's Buddhists who walk around and say thank you for every step that they take because they're stepping on the earth and they recognize, not that it necessarily hurts it, but that they're trespassing in some sort of way. It has moral and ethical implications for sure. And I think beyond that, so if you presume that, it depends how you build your ethical structure, but if you presume that consciousness may imply suffering of some sort, that's how I think of my ethics, is an attempt to reduce suffering in the universe. And I think that certain things cannot suffer, like this couch would be incapable.
Maybe a couch just doesn't have pain receptors, though.
Well, it may be capable of suffering in some way if it is conscious. Not saying that it is, but it opens up moral questions, not moral promises or moral have-tos, but, oh, wow, that's a consideration. Maybe it loves when I sit on it.
Well, yeah, this is my question. It's kind of like, the Pascal's wager is
Sure.
the argument for to believe in God, and then they just go, well, what about a trickster God?
Yeah.
And so this, to me, feels like, it's like, all right, the couch might have consciousness, but you have no idea what it wants or doesn't want.
Absolutely.
So you have no basis to know how to reduce its suffering except for to project your views on it, which could be totally wrong.
Absolutely.
It might love being sat on, or
Yeah.
it might hate being a couch and love when you break it,
Wants
So
to be
you're like,
returned.
we got to make sure we never hurt our furniture. And it's like, no, we love becoming
Sure.
broken and burned.
And I think the same question could have been asked, why do we care that the sun is the center? Who cares? We live on Earth. But obviously, as you move 500
I was
years...
just curious why you care.
So I care because I'm interested in truth, with a capital T. And if it is the case that I am experiencing an illusion of Charlie Houpert, it would be good to know. It would be good to move through this fleeting life with a greater awareness that, as I believe it's the Hindi religion, is like, this is Maya, this is all an illusion. There is something greater beyond this which you would want to be aware of. And I don't want to approach it from a belief standpoint where I just presume that that's true, but I'm interested in investigating it and in asking questions and seeing if I can experientially come to any sort of tentative conclusion.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I think it's because it could have massive
It
impact.
clearly interests you. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
I'm clearly very concerned with having a very well-behaved, loving dog.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm reading. That's what I'm watching.
Yeah.
So this is what interests you. So I'm just curious. It doesn't interest me as much. I'm just curious what calls to you about it. Like, I get why I want a perfect relationship with the dog.
Yeah, so I think generally speaking, and I wouldn't even describe this as science yet, but theory often precedes practical application. So like I mentioned Maxwell, he was just playing with magnets.
Sure, but you don't care about science in the sense that, like, you've never shown an interest.
I do care about science, and that science is just a way of testing one's reality to see what.
Yes, but you're less concerned with the new. So let me put it this way: there's been new breakthroughs in black hole theory, dark matter theory, quantum physics. You don't care. This grabs your attention, so I'm just curious why.
This I don't need to go to school to more deeply understand. I can experiment with consciousness on my own. By referencing my own experiences, I can experiment with it. To be able to move the field of black holes forward, I would have to do so much. I've tried reading those books, and I can't even get close to it. So that's kind of why.
Interesting.
I did have an interest in black holes, and I'm just not smart enough.
When I was little, I thought I was going to invent the time machine. I thought I was the next Albert Einstein. And I don't know why or how, but I convinced my mom to buy me an Albert Einstein book. I'm going to get this wrong, but I was 6 or 7. This thing was about that thick.
Yeah.
And it was not a children's book. And it was not just a biography. It was about his stuff.
Dude.
And I almost immediately gave up on my dream of creating the time machine. I read it and I went, wow, I don't understand any of this.
The variability in people's crazy. I thought of this when I was in Italy, and they're talking about Michelangelo and Leonardo. And you're not twice as good as me. You're not even 10 times as good as me. You are stratospherically, incomparably sharper than I could ever fathom. And that's the Albert Einstein. Somebody summarized your life work in a book, and it's just no. can't even touch it. I guess you were 7 though, so it's to be forgiven.
I just was overwhelmed.
Albert, why?
Oh my God. After a lifetime of studying physics, you're so much smarter than I am, and I've been alive for 7 years.
Yeah. Who knew? He was a bad student though, so there's hope for all of us, at least earlier in our lives.
I think it's part of why people like sports, because you can see someone whose stratosphere is better than you, but it's in something that it's easy to visualize. It's hard to understand how much better Albert Einstein is at physics than you are.
Yeah.
There's no real clear thing.
It's an interesting,
But you watch me try to dunk a soccer ball and hit the rim, and then you watch LeBron James do insane things. You just go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is a very clear visualization of someone being excellent where I thought I was good and I am in fact poor.
Yeah, I can play this game.
Yes.
I can't play physics.
Exactly.
I can't even scratch physics.
That's probably why Fortnite and all these famous gamers are getting so big, because there's so many kids that are doing it and they go, wow, I play Fortnite. I can't do half this stuff. And it's fun to watch someone be excellent at something that you understand.
Dude,
it's not fun to watch Albert Einstein do formulas because you just go, I'm so far behind it, I don't even understand what these stand for.
What's funny is, because I downloaded StarCraft 2 6 months ago. It's a 10-year-old game. And then I'm probably the last person to start watching streaming of StarCraft 2. I watch these Korean guys in the championship league, which they hold once every 2 weeks. There's constant new championships. But part of watching it is going, what are you doing? Come on, like everybody knows that's not what you do. When I couldn't do anything that they're doing. But I'm getting there like, this is
Have you seen, dude, there's an incredible series on, I think it's on Twitter. I don't remember who puts it on, but they will find people who have tweeted things like a kicker misses a kick.
Yeah.
And they go, come on, I can make that with my eyes closed. 30 yards. And they get them.
That's
and
amazing.
They bring them on TV and they go, all right, sir, close your eyes. Go for it.
Yeah.
It just misses completely. He goes, all right, cool. Open your eyes. Go for it. It just falls way short, shanks it right. And they go, so.
Will you be deleting that tweet?
Do you feel, that's literally what they do. They had people watching the NFL draft.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is a joke. I could run a 4.5.
Yeah.
And they tweet this and they go find them. And then they have them run. One guy says, I could run a 5 flat in a hallway in dress shoes. What is wrong with these? What is wrong with these people? And dude, they get him. They put him in a hallway. They put him in dress shoes, and he eats it. He's running and just slips, and they get him, and then he's like, "So, how do you feel?" He's like, "Yeah, I really underestimated how fast a 5.0 is."
It's always not the problem. The dress shoes.
Oh, they all own it. Actually, they almost all own it. It's hilarious.
Was when MTV had that thing Bully beat down, because the whole hope when you do that show is that it goes the way that you want, and you make the point you're trying to make.
Yeah, the professional MMA fighter beats up
the bully. There's a couple where the bully wins.
Well, there's one bully was like 6'5" Russian guy who was like 25. I was picking on 12-year-olds.
And learns nothing.
Well, the only thing I want to know is like, how are you not in jail? He literally broke a kid's arm.
Really?
Yeah, he like broke a kid's forearm.
Man.
And then he's just this yoked big Russian dude.
It's like, good. We taught him that when push does come to shove and he gets called out, that he can just still beat that guy up. He'll be completely fine.
He'll be okay.
This is a great lesson for him.
Yeah. Bully beatdown. That was a ridiculous show. What an odd premise. Just put a trained cage fighter in with a kid and then let him.
And some of them, I watched another guy that, because the rules that they had were you just had to survive, not get submitted in a round. So some guy would get submitted once in 3 minutes and still win $4,000. He's like, sure, all right.
Well, that's really impressive. To be able to survive.
It's incredible.
Not getting submitted.
And it
by
was
a
just
pro
one
fighter.
of those guys who lifts a lot and was able to bench press his way out of every sort of submission. And it's incredible. Jiu-jitsu is awesome, but it hits an upper limit.
Who are these bullies that are like 30-year-old dudes that can bench press 275?
Yeah.
What are you doing? I think of a bully. I think of a 16-year-old picking on 13-year-olds.
Yeah,
like,
shouldn't you be in high school?
What is going on?
Yeah.
Why are you bullying these underage kids?
Serious weirdness. Yeah. But anyway, for shows that are 15 years old, what's new today? What do we got, Angel?
So as I'm sure you guys are probably aware, on the 4th of July, there was a 6.4 magnitude earthquake in Southern California.
Scary.
Were you scared?
I ran for a door frame.
Were you scared? So yeah, for people who don't know, Charlie and I live in California.
On the fourth and fifth floor.
And there was an earthquake, and you could definitely feel it.
Oh, yeah. Everything in the room went went.
So you got
a little
nervous? You
bit.
went for a door frame?
I left everyone. The dogs, my brother, everyone was dead to me. It was about survival in that moment.
Dude, I actually
Put your own oxygen mask on first.
I was so calm. I had clear thoughts. I went, all right, this is an earthquake. What do you do in an earthquake? And I went, I have no idea because I'm from Philadelphia. So I go, cool, I have no plan here. If this building
was there
collapses.
One last night? Sorry.
Yes, there was. 4 a.m.
I felt it at 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
And then I thought, sorry for interrupting. This is what happens. This is what happened in Pompeii. The mountain smoked for a couple days. This is San Andreas.
Pompeii really gave you nightmares, huh?
No, there's nothing I can do is what I recommend.
Well, this is, dude, so my thing, I was
recommend.
like, all right, there's nothing. I literally went to where my surfboards are and I adjusted them so they wouldn't fall over because it was shaking. And then I sat down at my computer and just lived my life, started typing. I was like, I'm either the building will collapse and I will die, or nothing will happen, and nothing happened. But I have no knowledge of how to survive it, so I went completely calm.
It's a weird feeling of there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
This is either the big one that will just destroy everything.
Yeah, running for the stairs, as far as I know, because I have no earthquake background, running for the stairs might be the most dangerous thing I could do.
I'm not convinced surviving the initial fall is what I want to do, right? To slowly starve to death in the stairwell while rescue efforts are, right? I can't. That's
well,
not
if it's
fun.
San Andreas, you're in trouble, yeah.
Yeah, that's not fun while we drift out to sea. The funny thing about an earthquake.
Oh, dude, if we're drifting out to sea, grab a surfboard.
Sure. Well, I was thinking probably up until the last, 5,000-ish years, earthquakes killed just about no one. You have to have structures for earthquakes to be dangerous. You could be in 11 magnitude. You could fall so hard and then get up.
Just like, whoa.
Whoa. Well, tsunamis is the only thing. But if you're not near a coast, you just fall over.
Sure.
And
now we've built our own death traps.
Death traps that we.
You know what's funny too? I had so much faith in the building. Mm-hmm. I just went. This building was built in California.
Yeah,
they knew California had earthquakes. I bet this building's earthquake proof.
Are we better on the higher floors or the lower floors?
I mean, now we're circling back to the fact that I know nothing about earthquakes, but yeah, it was. You felt it for sure.
Yeah,
there was no mistaking it.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, did anyone call you, by the way?
No.
I had my mom and my grandma called me to make sure I was okay. It's like this earthquake happened, I think, 115 miles away from where we live.
Even so, I don't think anyone there had an issue. Did they? Did anything collapse?
I don't know.
I'd be curious.
Yeah, in the city that it
really?
originated in, Ridgecrest, they declared a state of emergency.
No kidding.
Dude, it was 115 miles away from us.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
This is because this is the worst earthquake that California has seen since 1989.
You're
so for them, it was
me.
really, really bad. Yeah.
We're just so far away. I thought it was interesting because no one knows the geography of California. So anytime anything happens in the state of California, I get a phone call. There's fires like 3 hours away from us.
State of emergency. So it messed stuff up.
Yeah, it was big. 6.4 on the Richter scale.
I know it scales, so I don't know at which point it gets dangerous. But man,
well, I did Google this because I Googled it.
Wasn't there one in Westwood last year or something like that? It just wasn't. It was like a 5.3.
Anything above 5 is dangerous.
Yeah, that's crazy. So we should move.
We're fine. Just don't go to Bakersfield.
Just don't go to Ridgefield. Yeah, that was scary. I don't like that.
What else you got, Angel?
So in pop culture news, Taylor Swift, who is a huge pop star, lost the rights to all of her music up until her new album that's coming out now, which is kind of crazy because she actually called out. So she said that, and this is a quote, "All I could think about was the incessant manipulative bullying I've received at his hands for years." So she's calling this guy out. Apparently this guy who has bullied her and tried to ruin her career in the past, she claims, now owns her entire catalog. So
just to be clear though, did she lose the rights to her music, or did someone else own the rights to her music?
Someone else owned them and sold to him.
She did not lose the rights.
She never had them.
She sold the rights to her music.
Well, and
then someone else
she came up.
Sold.
This is my understanding.
Yes,
she was a nobody. She signed a contract.
She signed the rights to her music.
We will put you on, but we own everything.
Yes, to someone else.
And
then that someone else sold
I think there
that
were
music
2 sales.
catalog.
Yeah.
To a new someone else.
Yeah.
But it's not like she owned this music and it was stolen from her.
Correct.
The reason I think she was so upset was because she said that she asked the production company if she could buy them, and they refused to sell them to her. They said the only way that she could get the masters of her music was to re-sign with them and to make more music for their label, and that she would get one of her albums per every new album that she made. So she had to work for her, and then she couldn't buy it. And she refused, so they sold it.
Maybe she didn't have the money.
I actually,
I heard
that
he
they,
said, she
I
said.
heard that
Yeah.
they did offer
The
to sell
guy
it to her.
allegedly claimed, he said she had every opportunity to buy this, and she said no. So who knows the he said, she said.
Yeah, I don't know. So she says, I never got the chance to buy it.
He says
They
she
said
did.
you did have the chance to buy it.
Yeah.
The thing I think is interesting is I don't know. There's a victim kind of feel to this, which I find interesting because you didn't have them stolen from you. The only reason you're rich and famous is because a label promoted you. And that's actually not true of like Macklemore.
Yeah.
Macklemore owns the rights to all his music. He did it a different way. So it's a weird thing because you sign this contract probably very excitedly, saying, please make me rich and famous. And in exchange, yes, you can own my music. Then you get rich and famous and are upset that you don't own your music. It seems odd to me.
I can relate to both sides because I don't know how old she was, but I think of the decisions that I made when I was 17.
That's fair. I don't know how old she was. That's fair.
And I was told, go to college. And I said, okay, I'll sign away my future. Was
it a 10-year contract, though?
No, well, this contract, it was a 10-year contract. It said,
was it?
Here's what it was. You can pay over 10, 20, or 30 years for this
No. For her, I'm saying.
I don't know how long the contract was. And I'm sure she had no idea how to negotiate at that point in her life. So it's a weird thing where, on the one hand, you're nobody. You will likely, on average, continue to be nobody unless this person puts you on. And you have YouTube is out there. You can do that, right? That's available to you. It's a tough thing how much of somebody's future they're responsible for versus the label. What do they get? Yeah, I don't.
Well, it's a classic case of I have no idea of the details. Maybe she's a horrible victim and maybe not. There was that thing with the Kanye song where she was really upset. And then
the other thing is nothing has changed in her life except the person who owns the songs, who, by the way, is not going to be so stupid as to not make money on them and be like, no one will hear these songs.
No. He's going to try to make... Dude, he just spent $300 million. He's going to
try to put them everywhere.
Yeah.
And maybe she doesn't like that. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't want him as the NBA's theme song or whatever, but he's going to try to get it in front of everything.
He's just going to try to make more than $300 million because that's what it costs.
I guess that was her thing because she wasn't on Spotify, correct? She had wanted to keep her music out of, I think, certain streaming things.
I have no idea.
Don't know any of the specifics of it. It is interesting the deals that you can make with the future at a young age, and whether it's fair, I don't know.
Well, it's also an interesting example of another he said, she said, right? Because at first it got a lot of coverage that she didn't have a chance to buy her music.
And then Bieber came out and did an Instagram post.
He said,
I saw this.
Well, I didn't see the Bieber thing. What's the Bieber thing?
He just made a post that was essentially sarcastic about her saying that they were bullies. It was a photo of them all hanging out together and being like, yeah, Scooter the bully. Because he's super tight with that guy and thinks it's... And then he apologized and said, but you know that he's not a bully and it's inappropriate of you to say so. So,
yeah,
who knows?
Well, that's my point. It's just another example of let's put our pitchforks away a little bit because no one has the facts of what actually happened.
Yeah, I do feel comfortable, and this is like, you'll be okay, Taylor. Scooter, you'll be okay. Everything's going to be okay.
Justin, you'll also be okay.
Justin, you're going to be okay too. Keep making music. Do what you do. And own it from this point out. Just put it on your YouTube channel. Don't ever sign another deal. Pay for everything up. Pay out of your own pocket from now on.
Yeah. To
promote everything. So, good lessons. We wisely never sold anything. We had a number of people try to buy our business. And in retrospect, certainly where we are, super glad that we didn't sell.
No, we had a couple of times where people wanted equity or ownership of things.
It's tempting when you don't have anything. There's this sense, I will say, and it's a survivorship bias because here I am with a podcast and an audience and these people here, but it was so tempting to sell some of nothing. When the first person came in and wanted 10% of our ad revenue to be our multi-channel network, our MCN. It was like, oh, we're not making any ad rev. Please partner with us.
What is this, 10% of this?
When it matter, 10% of nothing is nothing.
Yeah. And all the big promises too, right?
Yep.
I'm going to put you in touch with this. I'm going to do this. Yep. The only reason we didn't do it was actually just because we heard that they don't deliver on their promises. It wasn't because we were protective.
Thank God for YouTube. I Googled MCN and there wasn't a single positive thing to be said about MCN.
But it's not because we were like, oh, 10% is too precious. It was just because we decided it was going to be giving away 10% of nothing, but getting nothing in return.
Yes, and we were flattered. I remember feeling very flattered that at that stage of where we were, that a business wanted to work with us. That was so validating. And I do think I have a ton of YouTube friends who have fallen into these MCNs, and none of them, 0.0, are happy with their MCN. And there are, I'm not saying this is Scooter Braun, there are what I would consider to be predatory industries and companies that prey on the naivete of up-and-coming talent. They sign all these contracts, provide very little because people don't know how to read a contract, and what they promise you in their email and what they promise you in the contract does not match.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that, right?
Oh, God, people, every time.
Especially what they say. People will
what you'll hear on the phone is crazy.
Here are the terms.
We're going to put you in touch with this guy, that guy. Listen, I've got Ellen's phone number. It doesn't say Ellen's phone number in the contract.
Yeah.
And so there
but
is...
if anyone has Ellen DeGeneres' phone number, please leave a comment.
I'd like to have a short conversation with her. So I do, upon thinking of that, have some... I don't know what contract she originally signed, but I definitely can have some empathy for the young up-and-comer who has these massive businesses come in. Promise you
for
the
sure.
world.
We also had a little bit of an advantage because I'm super anal and I came from investment banking.
I'd assigned every one of these. Yeah, to be clear.
No, I had to read contracts. That's fair.
I'd assigned every single one that was put in front of us from the first business deal we ever had, where some guy said,
I remember that some guy was like, "Wire me, hey, please just wire me $5,000."
Ben, what's your routing number? You're like, Charlie, we shouldn't do this. It's Ben. It was for editing of our parkour video.
Yep, and he wanted
payment wired to him up front, and he was not in the U.S.
Yep.
And I was in my account.
You were this close.
Ready to wire him all of my money, which at the time was like $2,000.
It was basically just the Saudi Arabian prince scam, right?
And I couldn't believe that you told me not to do that. I was shocked at how anal and untrusting you were. And what do I know? It's turned out to be the case that we have luckily not ever done that ever.
Yeah. People try to screw you.
Yeah.
That is an interesting in business. People think morality is different. I think there are people who would absolutely screw you in business and would not do something similar to a friend or someone that it wasn't a business thing. But in business, people think of it as it's a game, it's a zero sum, it's a this, and it's allowed. You're just allowed to try to screw people because it's business.
I think what the other thing is that these people, because I think of some of the people that try to screw us, and I know some of their personal life, and they also screwed people in their personal lives. But I think what is happening is you think that you've entered into their tribe because you're speaking to them and you're friends and you're talking and you laugh and you assume, look, they might be unkind to the out group, but I'm part of the in group now. And what you don't realize is that you're not part of the in group. They have an in group that they will not screw that hard, but you're not in it. And doesn't matter all the laughs that you have on the phone and all that kind of stuff. That's oh man, I just remember all of these. Yeah, just sign this contract. It says it's 36 months and you get exclusivity off of every sponsorship deal that we do, including ones that you don't touch. Yeah, that's because, I mean, what what criminal thing. And we could have signed it and he would have had every right to enforce it for
legally,
through today. Anyways, so yeah, I can have, I don't know what the original contract was for Taylor Swift, but they can be gnarly.
Yeah, for sure. That's fair. That's totally fair.
All right, what do we got?
So my next thing isn't necessarily news or anything like that. It's just a video that I found and thought I should share with you guys. It is two men in India on a motorcycle being chased by a tiger.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Let's see it.
Do you want sound on?
It sounds like we should.
Does it catch them?
You just have to watch and see.
Turn it off. Turn the sound off if it catches them. I don't need to hear that.
We have children watching Angel, sweet mother of God.
World Star. That's exactly who it would be.
And then get away.
Does it keep going? No, wait.
No, that's it. They're free.
That's
done.
it, right?
Yeah. When I was a kid, you can kill this, Angel. When I was a kid, I didn't really understand how deadly tigers were because you have cats and you have dogs and you just
tigers
go,
are huge.
Well, okay, but let's say you're like, a tiger is 6 times the size of a pit bull, right? So
not even
it's
close.
Well, I'm just saying this is me as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, so what does that mean? It's okay. It versus 6 pit bulls would be like a fairish fight, and I didn't realize that thing is just a killing machine. How big it is, how many tons
I think it's like
it is.
500-600. Well, not tons. I think it's 500-600 pounds. We can get the actual numbers on it. I got to watch more Tear Zoo, but
yeah.
they're
I guess
enormous.
When I was a kid, I didn't understand like bears.
Yeah. Also, bears is not just one thing. I mean, you get a bear that maybe you could deal with, and then you can get a bear like a grizzly that is just game over.
I'm just saying, when I was 8 years old and I went to the museum and I saw a tiger, in the maybe the prehistoric era, you see a saber-toothed tiger, or you go to the Natural History Museum, you see a 12-foot bear. And in my little child brain, I was like, I wonder with a sword and a shield, who would win?
Yeah. What's funny is that Tiger
It's
is
the
doing
bear.
the Tiger is doing what every house cat has done, which is something runs past its field of vision and it's just like mine, like murder. And then it was in that mode, and if it had caught them,
Oh, they would have dead for sure.
It might have just knocked him. Like a house cat just get off, and then startled at what it had done. Slinks away.
And then it's gone and pushed a giant glass off a table.
There's that cool guy who does all this stuff with these cats, and there's a couple of them that do the big cat stuff. But what they do show you is that they have this trigger where if they see your back, they get
I've
into
seen those videos.
this pounce mode where they'll do it right in front of a piece of glass. And even these guys that like them, they sneaking up, and maybe they wouldn't murder, but they have to pounce on you.
Let's see if we can get a clip of this so people can see what Charlie saw.
We'll pull
Not
up-
right now, but
we'll pull it up for
put
the
it
thing.
Up, put it up in post. No, but I've seen this. It's the trainer, and they seemingly love the trainer. The trainer feeds them, and they play together. But then the trainer's just sitting there, and I think it's playing with a different cat, and another cat starts to sneak around. It's like, if you don't turn, because once you turn around, it doesn't do it. But if you don't turn around,
They're like,
what happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
they
terrifying.
might just jump in and not, but they get in that mode.
I don't know. Brave people. Reminds me of, who is that bear guy?
Bear Grylls?
No, there was someone who thought that he was part of a pack of animals.
Oh,
But then-
it wasn't Grizzly Man. It was
The grizzly man, maybe.
the guy who died in Alaska?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He thought that they were his friends, but then
Yeah,
one day they just
got hungry.
ate them.
Yep.
Yeah, anybody who's around these big, massive predators, very brave people.
Yeah.
I
It
would
makes
not
me think
trust
of
it.
my house dogs who just trust me so implicitly when
Well, you don't eat them.
I could.
You wouldn't even know how. Someone would have to cook them for
they're
you.
very trusting is my point.
They are very trusting.
They run right next to your feet and they could just get clobbered, and they often do. But yeah, that's not for me. It is weird to think that there was a large period of time where your number one threat of dying as a human was not other humans necessarily. It was certainly the environment and other
probably
animals.
starvation, right?
Well, animals too, man. Just picking you off in the savannah. We're African originally, and there's some big, scary guys out there, right? So we just can't even relate to that. When there's an animal attack, it makes the news.
Yeah.
and to think that we're an animal that has no predators.
Yeah.
We can only get angry and kill each other, and even the environment barely touches the people who are in the first world, and it certainly does mess up people who are in other places.
The biggest killers of humans, it's got to be disease, right? Starvation and disease.
I believe it's the mosquito.
That's what I'm saying. Malaria. That's a
Yeah.
disease. But I'm saying more so than other. Can we look this up? Yeah, Angel's on it. I like that.
I believe it's mosquitoes, which is incredible to see how much has shifted. That the big guys can't
That's the
can't
apex
mess with
predator
us.
now.
Yeah, it's mosquitoes.
Mosquito.
Just getting our blood and giving us malaria. But lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky time to get born. It would not be cool to be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. That's not anything I've ever...
Never had malaria. It might be better to get killed by a tiger than get malaria.
Who knows? Yeah.
Well, someone who's had malaria probably could weigh in.
Yeah, that's fair. But they've also not been eaten by a tiger. So.
Nah, that's fair.
So no one.
So for the United States, the number one most likely way to die is heart disease.
Okay.
And then let me check for the world.
We'll see that in a second. Do you want to pull up the next story first, and then we could chat on that?
Well, I think we're doing Q&A now. I think that's it.
Is it qua?
Fan Q&A.
Corner.
We still haven't figured out how to get people to call in.
Yeah. We'll get it soon.
So, Marco asks,
Marco?
what is the
Sorry.
best / most charismatic way to get a professor to be a mentor in college? What about life in general? I liked this question because this is one that I also have. I struggle to find sort of help in my field. So,
Do you want to take this? Because I have not done a good job of acquiring mentors.
No, I was actually going to point this to you. I was going to say we managed to do all this mentor list, which is not what I'd recommend.
Yeah.
But we have friends who have done this.
Who
So
are you
I
thinking?
think of Zach
Yeah.
and Justin.
Yep.
And the way that they
And John.
do it, which I think is smart.
John. Adam Grant.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know his story, but I have two friends who have done this with very successful people.
Yeah.
And in both cases, they started with, how can I add value to this person's life? So they came in and they basically were offering free work, very similar to Charlie Hohn and Tim Ferriss, actually. And it was, I'm not just going to do this in a cold email. I'm actually going to research this person and what they care about and what they're currently doing. And then I'm going to think, what problems might they be facing and what do I have skill-wise where I can actually help? And it wasn't through cold email.
Do you know specifically what these guys did? Do you know that just as a concrete example?
I know that Zach wrote Tucker an email that was about, hey, I know you're working on this. Here are the things I think that I could do to help. And it was this big thing. And I think he was off, but Tucker was just impressed with his
attempt to get it right.
And he was like, you know what? Like, let me tell you what I'm actually having issues with, and tell me what you would suggest there.
Got it.
And it started very slow. It wasn't like, this is a great email, kid. Why don't you come move out to Texas and be my mentee?
Yeah.
It was like, all right, cool. You're trying to help me. Those aren't the problems I'm having. Here are the problems I'm actually having. And
Ryan Holiday did something similar. And my friend John, I believe, the other thing, you mentioned it, but just to underscore it, is to engage with the work that they are doing. So if you come in and you're like, I could do this, I can get you coffee, that's less persuasive than, I've read your books, I've done your this, I took it the next step. So my friend John, for instance, back in college, he started 5-second favors, which was based on Adam Grant, who I believe was a professor of his, Give and Take. And the idea was he started this listserv where anyone on the listserv could ask for a favor from the rest of the group at the listserv that took 5 seconds or under. So it could be, like
upvote
this
Reddit
post, upvote this, whatever. And he doing that, I think, was not only a product of that, but brought him closer to him because he was engaging with his work on a level that showed that he was into it.
I've got another one, actually. Our friend Edward, he wanted to get closer to this person he admired, and so he was learning about them, trying to figure out what they like, what they don't like. He found out that this person was interested in a certain topic.
Yeah.
Then he found out the person was having an event in a country close to him because he's from Europe. And so he flew to the event and bought a ticket to the event so that he could go, so that at the end, when fans were going up for pictures, he walked up and he said, hey, I just wanted you to know I know that you're interested in this thing, and I brought this book for you. And the guy went, oh my God, that's awesome. I just bought this book for myself. And it started this, and he's like, oh, let's talk for 3 minutes. Cool, nice to meet you. No initial mentorship. And then he got an email address, I think. And a week later, he shot him an email, and they had this slow thing. And then eventually he went and did free work for him. And then he used that to get a job with another person he admired that was a paid job.
It takes time, which is why it's not fun. A guy did this, and I wouldn't describe myself as a mentor to him, but the people that I think of that I have been able to help, I got off the phone with Zeno yesterday, and he originally reached out and said, Zeno has done some of our animated videos. And he reached out and said, I'd love to do an animated video free of charge. Check out my animated videos. And they were sick. So we're like, okay, let's do this.
And then eventually we started paying him. But he started with free work. Same with our editor. Our editor started editing for free, right?
It just makes it you stand out immediately when the person feels like there's no cost to them.
And it's a real offer, though. Because I've had people, I'd love to come be an intern. To train someone, it takes me time. I don't really see a lot of value coming out. Someone came in and said, hey, I like your breakdowns. They're kind of weak on editing. I'm a video editor. Do you want me to take a shot for free of editing a video? Cool. He did. It looked better than ours. He said, all right, cool. Do you want me to do the next one too? And then eventually he got paid very small amounts, and then now he's
full-time
making good money on it.
So the last one, because now we're just piling on, but I think the guy who can't, this is just to, you asked the question, I'll give you the examples. I wouldn't describe myself as a mentor, but if he reached out to me, he's got my personal email. He could get a hold of me, and he's gotten, he can get help from me. I sat down to lunch, bought him lunch, gave him as much business advice as I could in that time period, and he can contact me. This is a guy who reached out to me via email. I didn't answer because I didn't see it, because we get too many emails and I can't process them all. And he said, hey, I'm Australian, but I'm coming to LA, and I'd love to film you at this event that you're doing. I didn't see it. I go to the event, show up. There's a dude in full camera gear with a sling over his shoulder. He goes, hey man, I'm Dave. I emailed you. I'll be shooting you today. I was like, great. Are you with Powerful You? He's like, oh no, I'm here for you. What? Okay. And the truth is, I don't need that footage. But
you're just impressed with the fact that he showed up for his
there all day and got various angles. Okay, we're gonna get this, and did what would have been, if I needed it, an excellent job of the video editing.
That's the other thing. You got to do a good job. To do this and then botch it does not get you a mentor.
Well, the truth is, I didn't actually view it. I just could sense from the way that he was setting up his angles and that kind of stuff.
Sure, but if he rocked up with his iPhone, I was like, oh, I'm gonna videotape you.
He had multi-cam.
Yeah, which I'm just saying.
Okay, put this mic on.
Figure out what you're good at. How can you actually help these people? You want them to help you.
Yeah.
start thinking, how can I actually be valuable to them and not just someone who's like, teach, give me your time.
There was no guarantee. No,
of this.
Never. At the end of it, I said, thanks, man. You were great. I'd love to take you to lunch. But that's not a guarantee. Mm-hmm. So all of this stuff just gives you a high percentage shot. And I think with a professor who maybe isn't famous or in demand compared to some of the other people that we've talked about, you should be able to knock this one out of the park.
Actually, now that I think about it, professor in particular,
you probably just show up to office.
No, I did this on accident. Get excellent grades in their class, become their TA. Mm-hmm. I did this with a guy I didn't really want to be my mentor, but I was looking for some extra money.
Yeah.
So I got a great grade in his class. I thought the subject was interesting. I was like, yeah, I could do this TA thing. I applied to be a TA. Now all of a sudden I have a ton of his one-on-one time. Mm-hmm. He happened to be he was a multimillionaire who was a venture capitalist. And if I was interested in that, that relationship could have been something I fostered. I was just looking for $500 extra paycheck to spend on food and beer, but that would work for a professor because they literally need TAs. Yeah. And so if you're someone that they like, who's excellent at
everything we said is great for mentors, and for a professor it's overkill, but will still work.
Yeah,
I think.
But also you just go be their TA.
Yeah, cool. What's out? What else we got?
Did way better than I thought we were gonna do.
Yeah.
The next question comes from Khalil. How do you deal with uncertainty? I've been dating a girl who after some months gave me the pass without giving a reason. I know feelings are hardly explainable and I'm over her, but if this happens again, I would like to not feel so confused.
Okay, so it's feeling like he needs closure is kind of what I'm hearing. Not necessarily like uncertainty in the sense of, will my business work? It's, I'm not sure why this ended and I got it. Do you have any thoughts? I can hop in if you don't.
I mean, my initial thought is that that's not necessarily a target I would aim for. You think a lot of times with advice, the first question is like,
this a good question?
You could work, like, you can work towards something, but why? Mm-hmm. I think getting more comfortable with uncertainty is a better, instead of trying to chase every person that you date down and be like, just explain to me why it didn't work out. It's like, stuff people don't know.
Well, that's what he's asking. He said, how do I get more comfortable how do I deal with uncertainty? So what is my take on this? I think it would help to do some reflection to ask yourself why you are doing this. And there's a good reason and a bad reason. A good reason is because, I can learn this and take applicable things forward in the future so that I don't wind up making similar mistakes repeatedly. That's a great reason to review the past.
An even better reason is to make sure you get back with her.
Yeah, to get back with her or...
No, sorry, that was sarcasm. That's what Charlie was going to say the bad reason would be.
Well, not just to get back with her, but because you're sure that there must be something wrong with you, and therefore if you can get her to tell you what it is that's wrong with you, you'll know that you were actually messed up the whole time, and it'll confirm your worst beliefs about yourself. The certain thing, which I think is that you guys were not a match. That does not therefore implicate you, you Khalil. You two together were not a match. Now, what I would say is worthwhile, because I do think people don't get enough feedback from the person that they're dating, is to ask her and say, hey, no hard feelings. I totally understand, but giving you full permission to hurt my feelings for my own personal growth. You can even text her, can you give me some insight as to why you don't want to see me? Now, this is tough for most people to give back to you. You're not going to get this most of the time. So
and you might hear something you don't like.
I hope you hear something you don't like, because then now we're talking about, okay, I can reflect upon this and see, is this a fair assessment? Is this something I want to work on to potentially change? Or do I just disagree and I don't need to change this? Because what she says isn't true about you. It's true of her perception of you. So I would actually reach out and try to get some feedback. I wish there'd been people back in my earlier days who would ask me why I didn't want to see them anymore, because there were things that I felt could have been systemic in the way that they behaved that were going to mess up future relationships, but I didn't have the courage to say it. Mm-hmm. And if someone had asked, I might have. So the
other thing is a one-off. I wouldn't worry so much about a one-off. I would look for patterns.
Yeah.
If multiple times you have a close friendship that fails, or multiple times
that
you have relationships, multiple times you sleep with someone once and never see them again.
Yeah.
Now it's worth investigating.
Yeah.
I think if one person in one part of your life, like sometimes people don't match. Mm-hmm. I think the more important thing is to investigate the patterns.
Sure.
I see it with people who struggle to hold on. I know someone every 6 months guaranteed her and her best friend have a falling out. And then she makes a new best friend and they're good for like 6 months and then they have a falling out.
Yeah.
That's a pattern. You're the common denominator. But for any one relationship, like, who knows? Maybe she could
have just been something horrible could happen in her life.
Or not. She just decided she didn't like the way you look.
Cool. What we got?
The last question, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name, but it is from Kyrul. He asks...
Hyrule?
It's a cool name.
Or they ask...
I would rhyme it with Hyrule and a rat if I were doing it.
It's spelled Khairul. And they ask, you said that you guys studied in college, but it didn't really help with your business at all. I'm going to university very soon. So what do I do to not waste my time there? By the way, I'm studying business.
Well,
nice.
You've signed up to waste your time. Let me just tell you.
Come on, depends.
No, depends. So there's one reason to study business, and it's because you go to a top tier school and you're going to get credentialed to get a job that pays you more than the cost of your college.
Yeah.
That is the one reason to get a business degree. What you learn, the education you receive is a business degree. Do we disagree that that's...
No. I'm just saying sometimes you go get, you go get a good rubber stamp and then you get a good job.
Yeah. Good job. A high paying job.
Yes. So the reason I would... Oh man, it's too hard to think about when you're in high school. But like one of the most important things you can think about before going to college is where do people that go here go after? How many of these people do what I want to do? If I want to be a dancer, I want to work at Google. I'm sure
this person. Oh, I'm not sure. I would suspect most people entering college do not know what they want to do after.
Yeah. I want to be a writer.
Yeah. So what I would recommend is I came in as a business major and I got out, and then I became a philosophy major, and then I had to go back to grad school as a business major because I was unhireable. Now I don't regret that switch because business wouldn't have served me any better. Like the truth is,
more of who you are today is from your philosophy degree. Then
sure, and business would have been worse, I think. Mm-hmm. So how do you not waste your time is the good question. What I will tell you is that the best education you are going to get in your life is not going to come inside the walls of a college classroom. I've learned infinitely more since we graduated by starting this business about the way the world actually works, people's actual psychology. I actually did learn some philosophy, but I've deepened my study of philosophy without the classroom. Mm-hmm. So I would suggest to you that you need to not let your schooling get in the way of your education. And you explore what you're interested in, do the clubs, study abroad, which I think is a massively valuable thing that we sort of subsidize via these colleges, because the things that you'll learn about yourself in your first visits abroad are incredible. If you are interested in business, 4-hour work week is a must, a necessity. Start on it. That's my one thing that if I could tell myself in college, it would be to read this book and just get going. And man,
make friends.
Make friends.
That's the best thing I did. I was positive I was not going to join a fraternity. I literally told fraternities I'm not going to join. But then I ended up joining one, and it was awesome. I made a ton of good friends. Actually ended up the first job I got was a place that a guy who was a junior in a different fraternity, he liked me. I applied and I got that job. Probably he helped. And then the place where I worked after that was because someone in my fraternity worked there. Yeah. Helped my resume get pulled. So even if you are just super concerned about money, your relationships and your network are super helpful, especially with older people.
But, yeah, because I was going to say your network of people your age is worth zilch at that point in your life. And that's okay. It can be worth it from a social perspective.
It's the seniors and juniors and stuff like that. But yeah, and also this is the most fun. Mm-hmm. I mean, candidly, college, I think, is more so for fun than it is for learning. Yeah. I think you can teach yourself, with the exception of also an engineer, a doctor, there's all sorts of stuff. For business, you can teach yourself more than you'll learn in the classroom anyway. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at how many successful businesses are run by dropouts. I would go with the fun and the social and the network, and it's the people. Yeah. I think the best part of college is the people.
I'm going to go on my business school rant right now real quick, and then we'll wrap this up.
It's probably undergrad, right?
He's in undergrad business school, is what he's saying. Correct? He said he's entering.
It's not an MBA.
It does. Yeah, it doesn't say both their level of studying. It just says studying business.
Probably just entering. So you mentioned the STEM fields. There are certain fields where perhaps the best place to learn them is actually within a college education. Sure. That's where you are going to learn to be a doctor.
Yeah, unless you're Goodwill Hunting, I imagine it's tough to learn physics without teachers.
Exactly. Business is not learned in a classroom. Your teachers don't have successful businesses. If they did, they wouldn't be teachers. Let me tell you this. I will never go work and receive a salary from a college. I'll come in, I'll give a speech, but I'm not going to spend my time there. Why would I? Right? Those people are there because they don't have businesses.
Yep.
If they could have businesses, they would not be there. Now, some of them are middle management and even upper middle management at, for example, American Express was one of the guys in my thing. If you want to learn how to be a vice president of some division, that guy can tell you how to be there. But when you think of business, I imagine that you think of starting, like really driving.
Well, maybe
a business.
not. So that's step one. Is what are your goals?
If you want to be an employee, college is a great way to learn how to be an employee.
Yeah.
Show up, they tell you what to do, you clock out, you get the grade on the rubric. That if you want to be an employee, there's no better training than college. If you want to start a business, there's nothing that will get in your way more, in my opinion. It puts you behind the 8 ball financially. It trains you. The worst thing to wait for an assignment that you must complete and that will then be graded by some all-knowing professor, as opposed to
the marketplace.
The market. All of your smart, not all, some of your smart friends would like pitch us these ideas thinking that we could validate them. And what we would try to tell them over and over again is you got to take this to a customer.
Potential customers, yeah.
It doesn't matter how smart you think someone is. You got to go to the market. So I think business school is a crock.
Sure.
nine times out of 10.
I will say, let's not put our values on this guy, though. If your goal is to get a 6-figure salary at a company where you hopefully like what they do and you like your coworkers and you want to go be a manager at a company,
then this could be great for you.
Yeah.
Depending on the college that you're going to. Because if you're going to
let's not say any names.
Number 75.
A bad college.
If you're going to number 75
Sure.
and you're going to get B pluses and A minuses, it's not going to do, I mean, if you get A pluses, it's not going to do what you just described.
No, I agree.
College degree is par for the course when you're applying. It doesn't distinguish your resume at all.
A good thing to do regardless is just figure out, once you can figure out what you want to do, find other people who have done it and then model them.
Yeah.
So if you really want to be a sports agent, go study the most successful sports agents. How did they do it? Did they do it because they were friends with breakout athletes? I know one, dude, I know one guy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was his name? He's so smart. He went to the University of Miami because he knew he wanted to be a sports agent.
Yeah.
They do not have the best business school, but he knew that didn't matter.
It just meant
He became friends with the football players. And he's like, I think you can go pro, and I think I can get you more money than these other people. And he didn't say it the day he met them. He became friends with them first. He nailed a couple of relationships early, and then he built a huge sports agent business on it. So, oh man, I wish I could remember his name, but I wanted to be a sports agent. So I studied how other sports agents became famous. I was at the University of Pennsylvania. Not a lot of pro athletes coming in, so that wasn't going to work for me. So I had to figure out a different strategy. But yeah, I know it's tough, especially at a young age, to know what you want to do. I was wrong. I thought I wanted to work in finance. But to the extent that you have an inkling, that the most valuable thing you can do is study how did they get where they are, because that's how you will probably get where they are.
Yeah. In sum, we've said a lot of different things.
Hopefully some of it helpful.
Experiment is the best thing I could tell you. Experiment with living in different countries. Experiment with maybe starting a business. If you start this business degree and don't like it, switch to something else. I don't care if it's art history.
Dude, I got an internship with a sports agent. That's when I knew I didn't want to be a sports agent. It seemed great in my head. I imagined it. It was so cool. Me and Allen Iverson hanging out. And I went and I interned. I went, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is not for me.
Yeah. You've got 4 societally sanctioned years to not be productive. Take advantage of those and so that when you do come out and they expect you to pay off everything that you went into debt for, you at least are moving in a direction that is likely to be one that you're passionate, interested, and potentially even good at. I think that's it for episode 12. Right?
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Remember our sponsor, Charisma University. It's in the description. Join today.
Let's go on the Fabsta.
Yeah, the Fabsta. All right. Take care, guys. Peace.